such an asshole!
Hey everybody, the old captain here over at assholeconsulting.com. If you have questions like this young man does, you can go to assholeconsulting.com, and I, the older brother you never had, the father who was absentee, will give you the truth, the straightforward dope, the blah-blah-blah, whatever it is your teachers and guidance counselors aren't telling you. And you will pay me money in exchange, and we'll all be very happy. You'll be thankful, saying, oh God, I'm glad I dropped that $35 on Cappy. Anyway, young man writes, hey Cappy, I'll keep this short since I know your fondness for succinct messages. I'm a stupid millennial dipshit who might actually have a good idea. I'm currently enrolled in a computer programming degree, and I have an idea for an app. It's still in the development stage, but hopefully within a couple of months, I may have an app ready to be released. My question to you is, how do I set up an app-based business? I've been building up my knowledge of programming techniques and various coding languages, but I'm still ignorant when it comes to the business side of computer/app industry. So I was like, well, wait a minute. So you got the app. I wanted him to clarify. He says, without going into much detail about the app itself, I'm currently creating for Androids, iPhones, and I think I'll be able to sell it on the Google Play Store. Eventually, I can port the app to iPhones, iOS, and Apple stores. I've not investigated into whether the Google Play Store or Apple Store policies regarding app development or deployment. So far, I've been focused entirely on creating the app. My app is still a rough draft and nowhere near close to the development at the moment. That being said, though, I want to be prepared for the possibility that my app could become successful. This may be the biggest, if ever, and I know that apps come and go daily, but I'm willing to take my chances and try to build my own business. You're always preaching about entrepreneurship, the two-pronged system, and becoming your own boss. This is how I see myself fulfilling that goal. It's a great idea, brilliant idea, and I rarely say that because I'm going to start a bar. Like, no, fucking retard, get out of here. But this is a good idea, and I'll explain a couple of reasons why. If this app does manage to get off the ground and become a success, how would I go about creating a business around it? All right, so you're concerned about the business entity. I've never created my own business before, and I don't know where to go, what to do, or what to classify this type of business as. So my questions: what do I do, and how do I create a business around the phone? All right, basically what you're worrying about is what legal entity, what legal business entity you want to form. And it doesn't really matter, especially at the beginning stages, whether you form a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, or just do it out of your garage. And it really doesn't matter that it's computer apps or that it's raising cattle or something. Now, down the road, if you do make tons of money, blah, 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 you may want to consider a C Corp or an S Corp. But as it is right now, just little old you, the company type that you want to set up is called an LLC, a limited liability company or corporation. And all you have to do is you go to your Secretary of State. I think you're in Florida, I'm not sure. But you go to the Secretary of State, search your state's name and then the SOS, Secretary of State. It'll take you there, and then you basically file or apply to become an LLC. And now they got it that it's just done online, and you could do it within an hour. And you supply your name, Social Security, blah, blah, blah. You'll be a single member entity LLC. That's just something that you might want to look at. You'll fill that out online. If you're a little bit confused, depending on the state, they'll probably have a tutorial, but it's nothing. If you can apply for a bank account, you can apply for this. They usually will approve you right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. You have to pay a fee. So I think it's like $120. Then you get, Bob Bobson LLC. That's your name, whatever you want to call it. So they will give you a certificate, and you can print that off. And then you'll also have to get an employer identification number. So then you will go to the IRS site, irs.gov, and you should be able to see EIN number, get an EIN number. This is automatic, they'll automatically assign you one, don't worry. They're now going to give your company a social security number. And this may be intimidating at first, because God, I want a whole new social security number. It's not you, it's for the company, don't worry. And most people, they just let their LLCs fall and fail. I've let mine just expire because I've never used them. But you'll get a tax ID number or an employer identification number. Don't worry about the word employer. Doesn't mean you're employing people. It's just to give your company its own tax ID number. Then you have that. Now you have the two pieces. Now you need, three. Then you need some money. some token amount of money. I don't know, $500, depends on the bank you go to. But with that little amount of money, your certification and your employer identification number, you can then go to a bank and set up a small business checking account or a small business account. This is going to be necessary because you need a place to put the money that you make, or in theory will make, down the road. So you've put in a little bit of your money, you open up this checking account, and there you go. And then the fourth, third, whatever thing we do, you are now allowed to set up a PayPal account based on the fact that you have a business checking account. And now you have PayPal. Now you could start, in your realm, you're in the computer programming where it's like, now I take that code, paste it here. And that's how you can see people are going to start paying you online. So that instead of people cutting checks, you go to the bank, is this money? That kind of thing. So that's where you got to get LLC. You got to get the employer identification number, which allows you to get the bank account, which allows you to get the PayPal account, or whatever online paying system you want. So now you have the net, if it were, the business by which to capture and catch all your profits and revenues. So the final thing you have to do, though, before you start selling your software, your app, is you have to file it with the Copyright Office. All right. So once your app is done, or you have a significant amount of it done, you go to copyright.gov, follow the instructions there, and you file your copyright claim. And this is your copyright. You copyright your app. Now, you could do it yourself. Some people, they recommend that you go with a lawyer who can also do it. That's going to cost you money. Regardless, it is going to cost you a fee, and I've never filed copyright. Amazon does that for me with my books, but since this is just you, it's not going through it. I filed patents, U.S. Patent Office, something like, what was it, $375? And I was doing it yourself. I don't know what the Copyright Office, but it's going to cost you a fee. It's not going to be chump change. It's going to cost you a little bit. Then you copyright your app, and now you're set to go. Then you do your thing. You sell on Google Play, iTunes, or iApp, or whatever it is. Whatever distribution networks you sell apps on. And then you have, they'll probably say, okay, you have to have a method of payment. Maybe it could go direct deposit into your business checking account, or maybe it's just easier to have it go into your PayPal account, where you can then dump the money into your business checking account down the road. And that's about it. That really is all it is. Now, let me explain one other thing about the LLC. This is, very abbreviated. The LLC is a separate legal entity for you. That's why it has its own tax identification number. So if somebody sues the LLC, they sue the LLC, not you. So what most people do is they use the LLC as a shell corporation. They take all the money out of it and they pay themselves, which is automatic anyway with a single member LLC. But make sure you don't have like tons of money just sitting in your business account for someone to come out and sue and say, oh my God, look at all this money. Keep it just basically an operating entity, very simple, not a lot of assets in that thing. And then that way you got this legal protection. You have this legal entity there. I don't know why you would get sued for an app. I really don't. But it's just, that's a legal protection benefit of having an LLC. And that's it. You're off the races. Now, one thing I do like about this, let's just say you start your LLC. You set up your website. Maybe set up a website too, obviously. But you start this company, Bob's Apps. Fine, cool. Or Bob's Software. Fine. What this does is it immediately establishes an entity by which, okay, this app didn't work, but maybe you might have another app. Maybe you have another software idea. In other words, you only have to set up the company once, and you can have multiple apps and softwares. You don't have to set up a company for each idea you come up with. You now have a company. And you ever wonder, well, why do they keep it generally bland names, General Electric, General Motors? Well, because it's like, we want to roughly name ourselves what we're in, but we're not going to limit ourselves to Henry Ford's T models only. That wouldn't make much sense. You can name it your last name. You could say Apps Incorporated, something, whatever you want to call it. But you have this entity now that you can run. You could sell all your software ideas. If you're in computer programming, you're this young, you're already starting to come up with ideas. Maybe this app doesn't make it, but maybe you come up with a better idea for another app. And you start all of these apps are housed under that one LLC. The second thing that it's going to do, I like this a lot, is let's say you're doing your side hustle. This is the entity, the legal entity you're going to run all your second prong through. While you're doing that, you're handing out business cards, making business, meetings and all that other stuff. But when you start applying for jobs, people are going to say, what else have you done? Well, I run this small little side app company on the side. I for my own apps and my own little hobbies. Tell us a hobby, otherwise they're going to think, oh, you're not serious with this corporate. Say, I have a hobby. I sell apps on the side through my company. And people are going to look, and they're going to go, huh. And they're going to go to your website, and they're going to say, oh, he's pretty professional. And the smart HR people, which are none, but the smart hiring managers will go and see if you actually registered as an LLC. And they'll say, holy shit, this kid filed an LLC. He's got a little bit of hustle. In other words, it'll provide, even if you don't make money, it shows that you were professional enough to go through with it and you're serious. So I think it's a great idea to set up your LLC this early. That would hopefully last you for the rest of your life, that you're going to run all your business ideas through. Hopefully, many of them turn profitable, that you don't even have to work for somebody. But it's not going to hurt, even in the short term, if your app doesn't make it, because it shows you have hustle. It has, and it's a tool. It's a conduit by which you can run all your entrepreneurial ideas through. So that's what you got to do. Okay, remember, Secretary of State, single member LLC, employer identification number, tax ID number, checking account, and then PayPal, website, patent office. Boom, you're off to the races. Anyway, hope that helped out. Best of luck to you. And if any of you guys have questions, go to assholeconsulting.com. Your older brother will take care of you there. Older brothers are going to charge you money. We're assholes, but we're honest. You can go to my blog, CaptainCapitalism.blogspot.com. Read the crazy rantings I have over there. We have the Clary podcast on SoundCloud.com. And then we have all my books. You can find them on Amazon.com. Search Aaron, Aaron, and last name Clarey. Toodles.